Ciao guys, this is the e-commerce growth show, and today I'll be hosting Sinem Yazıcı Reese, a strategy and partnerships lead at byrd Technologies. Sinem will explain you all you need to know about the fulfillment and how to expand your business to Western Europe. You will get to learn why you want to use outsourcing of fulfillment. For example, you might want to focus on marketing and product selection instead of logistics. Then we'll talk about how Western EU users differ from Adriatic users. Did you know that 62% of customers abandon cart due to expensive shipping? Or did you know that German shoppers are more willing to use an environmentally friendly delivery service? This and more later on. Stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome to Growth E-commerce. And today with us will be Sinem Yazıcı. She's strategy and partnership lead at byrd Technologies, and she'll be talking about e-commerce fulfillment today. So welcome with us, Sinem.
Hi, David. Thank you for having me. It's gonna be a good episode, hopefully, on e-commerce and fulfillment. So thank you for the invite, and happy to be here.
The pleasure is all mine. So, well, Sinem, first, I think that our audience should know what are the latest e-commerce trends in Europe. So could you tell me something about that?
Sure. So basically, just for us to start with e-commerce and e-commerce trends, now we've seen sort of the changes happening in 2020 with COVID-19 and everything sort of like pushed to be digitalized. We have seen lots of growth in e-commerce, basically. I will give some more data on that, some interesting data on that in the next slides. But basically for e-commerce, I think it's been a big jump on D2C, basically going direct to consumers and working with merchants that want to grow, expand on cross-border sales as well. So as you see here, e-commerce isn't the cherry on top anymore. It's actually the cake. So it's been growing, and I can actually sort of talk about a bit more about the numbers, if I may. Sort of we see that a huge trend that e-commerce market reached out to 26 trillion USD in 2020, and this is a huge number from the global data that we see, and this is high above the expected growth rate. So it's compared like 18% growth compared to 2019, and it is expected to grow in the next coming years as the COVID situation continues. Also, now the merchants are already moving the steps towards digitalization, having their shops and having more, using more digital platforms. We will see this trend raising in the next years as well. So yeah, this is.
Yeah, so COVID was a major player in this growth, right? But
yeah,
on the other hand, for the European market, the British are going out. So like Brexit is happening. How does this influence it? Will be this a major player, or will the Europe stay connected and the cross-border will grow stronger? What do you see the future development of the European market?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think COVID, I always say COVID has been a lottery. It's sort of helped some sectors to thrive, and e-commerce has been one of them. Although with Brexit, it seems to have more particulated, but I think in terms of cross-border, it will basically align with the trend, because sort of the trend is going decentralized. So moving the inventory moving the presence in micro pieces across Europe, having a pan-European network. And with Brexit happening, again, this accelerates the process. So COVID accelerated the digital transformation for merchants, and I guess Brexit within Europe accelerates the cross-border deals and cross-border setups for merchants, because as UK is a big market in Western Europe, Germany is a big market in Western Europe, merchants in Adriatic region, when they want to move towards, they strategically want to position themselves within these markets as well, because these are big e-commerce markets. And we can see here sort of like the growth and the opportunity for the merchants as well.
Okay, so you mentioned the shift from traditional commerce to e-commerce. That's what the traditional players did. But then also from traditional merchants, we see a shift toward D2C, which is directly to consumers. And you also mentioned the micro network or the network or micro points serving those D2C operations, which is exactly where the fulfillment comes into the play. So can you describe what fulfillment is more in detail, maybe?
Yeah, of course. So basically, like you said, with D2C, there has been a increase in D2C markets as well, and in D2C markets. Basically, let me explain a bit more on direct to consumer, what it means. Basically, it's going to consumers without the marketplaces or without any other third party involved. So most of the brands want to create a brand experience for their sort of, or like customer experience for their brands, basically. And this is where D2C comes into place. So in order to make that experience as nice as possible, the last step is the most memorable step. So that is delivery. That is basically when the consumer actually holds the product and gets the product. So fulfillment is right at that point. So you have an experience up until when the order is placed. So you have given all your effort and actually had your shopper end user add the item to the basket, pay for it, but then you need to make sure that the aftermath of it is also as representative of your brand as possible, so that you sort of give a crown of that order and make sure that you have loyal customers in the future. So fulfillment in that sense, maybe I can explain a bit more on Germany, and we can go specific to DACH region and fulfillment piece in the DACH region. This is just this is just showcasing basically how population in 2020, like 85% in Germany bought something online in 2020, and this is a huge growth
for penetration is growing,
yeah,
right?
For Germany. And it's basically I think with the fulfillment piece, with players like Amazon, how fast delivery, we've learned how fast delivery is important. We've learned how reliable the merchants should be in order to keep the customers in their D2C concept, basically in their field. And
so if the merchants outsource the fulfillment, they can focus on getting good products and having good user experience on their side, but they leave the delivery part, logistics part, the returns to the people who are specialized for that.
Exactly, and that's basically like from byrd perspective, that's what's important for us as well. So once you're creating your once merchants are creating their own brand, they should focus on their quality of the product, on their marketing activities, and fulfillment is something that that basically makes the merchant's job easier when they outsource it. So outsourced fulfillment includes basically warehouse, where they store the inventory, how it's picked, packed, labeled, and processed once an order is placed, and also basically working with shipping companies like DHL, like DPD, like Colissimo, like Royal Mail, to make sure that the delivery is smooth as well. So the fulfillment company takes that whole process and helps the merchants basically to give transparency, to look into every step in that fulfillment process and make sure that the end user has the best experience. So that they can, like you said, they can focus on what they're doing the best, which is working on their website, working on their production, working on their marketing activities, working on their brand.
So one in every 4 customers abandons the cart when he sees the delivery time. So delivery time is that important for them, and probably also the delivery cost goes hand in hand.
And delivery cost data is actually even more interesting. In overall, the global data shows 50% of customers abandon the basket when they see the shipping is not free. In Germany, 62% of Germans abandon the basket when the shipment is above, like shipment price is above what they expect. And like I said, Amazon has set a high sort of standard of those deliveries. So most of the consumers now expect free shipping as a good experience when they do online shopping. So this is a quarter basically can leave due to long delivery time, but the merchants may lose half of their customers because of not offering free shipping. Basically, this is as important as building the brand itself. So the conversion rates is like basically having an outsourced fulfillment, making sure that you are covering these costs can increase the conversion rates dramatically.
So late in the consumer funnel, and you can lose him, right? Just before he clicks buy, he just abandons because of too high or too long delivery times.
Wow. Exactly, and this standard, especially in Europe, is quite high. Also for merchants in who want to expand to Western Europe, this is something that they should be expecting when they're setting their planning, and that they should include the delivery costs as well for their planning and expansion.
Okay, just for example, we did a survey in Adriatic region how important the delivery times are for our customers, and let's say that in Slovenia it's pretty much the same as in Germany. So very important. They expect to get their shipment in 3 days maximum, but in Croatia it's not important at all. So just the delivery cost, which plays the major role in their decision whether they will buy a product or not. So I believe that we are trending towards the same ultimate goal, which is the same day delivery and probably also free delivery, right?
Yeah, I think I think free delivery, like in Germany as well, I think 78% expect 2 to 3 days delivery time. And I think sort of delivery time, as long as you give a time frame, is acceptable, is more acceptable than having a high cost delivery, basically not offering free shipping. So I would say in order to prioritize it, free shipping is more important, and making sure that you give a time frame that is basically keeping your promise for the consumer is important as well. I think it's standard for carriers nowadays, and in terms of if the warehouse is able to process it quickly, which is enabled with outsourced fulfillment, basically the shipping companies usually deliver sort of 2 to 3 days within Europe. But of course, this depends on the strategic location of your warehouses as well. So I think that's a topic we can deep dive into as well.
Yeah.
So I basically thought it would be useful for for the merchants to understand what kind of like key points are important for e-commerce fulfillment. It says in Germany because we took like Western Europe as an example, but I think we can take these key points important for any e-commerce fulfillment. So the priority or the ranking is made according to Germany or Western Europe, but I think all the key points are relevant for any e-commerce fulfillment that we see. So basically, as we discussed, consumers want to know the status of their delivery. We discussed that sort of the last touch point, an actual physical touch point that you get an opportunity to meet with your consumer is the delivery and getting the order fulfilled. And it is important to have it as transparent as possible. Consumers want to know the status of their delivery. As per the retails, the merchants need to know the status of their delivery as well. So with the transparency or with the sort of tools that we have, for example, at byrd, we have a customer dashboard that our customers, being the e-commerce merchants, can see actually automatically once an order is placed from their shop system, that be Shopify or WooCommerce or whatever they're using, the order is automatically processed into our system where the warehouse basically sees the order and starts processing the order. How it goes is a fully automated place or space. Basically, the warehouse picks, packs, and labels the item. And the merchant can actually track all the statuses from the dashboard. So this is the level of transparency we want to provide and revolutionize in the e-commerce fulfillment space, because then you are able to make better predictions for your delivery, better predictions for your consumer to know and let them know. So and then we pass it on after picking, packing, and labeling. We pass it on to the career partners, like mentioned, DPD or DHL, or in UK, Royal Mail, and so on and so forth. And this enables basically, again, tracking the order once it's going to be delivered, and then it feeds back to the system automatically once it's delivered and once it's basically in place. And we have partners that basically we work with to make sure that this customer experience is also sort of a good experience for the partner. Like Parcel Lab, for example, a partner of ours, does tailored communications for your brand, basically when it's delivered and where it is, and so on and so forth. So we want to make sure that the experience is as good as possible for the consumer. So and we want to make sure that we give sort of a satisfactory quality for the whole fulfillment process. This also includes sort of returns. Returns is a huge topic and pain, to be honest. So again, you need to optimize the return process. You need to understand how important it is to enable your consumer to be able to return the items. And basically, you want to see when a return label is created or generated by your consumer. You want to see when the return actually gets to the warehouse. You want to see if it's damaged or not. So these are the points also to bear in mind that you need to take care of when thinking of transparency and how important transparency is in order fulfillment.
Yeah, I have one question. Okay, you were talking about dashboard for your customers. That's your partners, merchants, probably. Mm-hmm. Do they have to inform the user, the end user, the buyer about the status, or you do that as well?
So it's up to the merchants. So basically, we push back the notification to the merchant And they can decide, like I said, they can work with different partners, or they can decide to use the DHL notification system to make sure that the consumers know as well. So we have that data available once the item is delivered, and so on. And like I said, we work with the carriers in order to pull that data, and we push it back to the merchant. But it's up to merchant to decide which touch points they want to communicate back to the consumer.
So probably that a lot depends on integration with the customer's web shop. So
True.
do you have any integrations in place? I don't know. You mentioned Ecommerce and Shopify.
Yeah, so we have standard integrations in place with Shopify, with WooCommerce, with Shopware, with Plenty Markets in the UK, in Germany. These are important players, and also Shopify is worldwide, so that's a no-brainer for most of the merchants. And also we have a connection with Amazon, basically for Amazon sellers that they want to fulfill by merchants. So Amazon have their own fulfillment centers, but we help them. We help merchants who want to fulfill by themselves. They have the option to. So
Amazon has first party or third party fulfillment, right? So you
yes.
do have third party. Okay.
Correct. So we have those integrations with the different marketplaces. We are also working on some system integrators like Channel Engine to make sure we tackle more than one marketplace, to make sure we tackle more than one system and ERP connection. And I think for like bigger customers who use ERP solutions, we also offer one-off integrations, or they can integrate to us basically with their ERP system, because they are more complex and tailor-made. But the standard integrations, so to say, work quite well in the markets or in the systems that I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Cool. So moving on to the second point, as we realized, basically the cost is another important aspect. We don't want to lose half of our consumers, where we, like you said, brought to the end of the funnel, and then like cost of shipping is a turn off, and they abandon the basket. So like we have really Amazon to thank and blame for it because of the high standards. Now it's an expected popular demand by most of the consumers to have a free shipping option. And the important thing is to once you strategically locate your warehouses, it is actually for the merchant as well cheaper to send, let's say, a merchant in Croatia has 50% of their consumers in UK. Trying to ship from Croatia to UK is going to cost a lot to them. If they are like, either they're going to lose the consumer in the last step of the purchase, when they shoot high cost delivery, or it's going to cost them too much too. So basically, strategically locating the warehouse and the inventory, not the warehouse but the inventory, is important here. So if the merchants want to tackle other markets, I think decentralizing the inventory is a very important aspect of tackling the cross-border costs. Because now with Brexit, as we have talked about, there will be custom tax, there will be sort of delivery costs that are unknown to anyone. So we don't want to have that. So like I said, moving to Western Europe, understanding the markets and making sure you have inventory close to your consumers is the key to reduce costs for you and not lose consumers or end users that you got in the first place. So this is sort of like one of the most important aspect. into like for tackling the costs basically.
So where do you at Byrd have your warehouses located?
Great question. That's sort of like the area we wanted to also tackle. Our company started off in Austria. So we have a warehouse in Austria and then expanded to Germany. We have 11 warehouses in Germany. And then we expanded to UK, France, and Netherlands in order to work with these sort of decentralized hubs, basically. In Europe, we can say we have, or Western Europe, we can say we have quite a good coverage, and it's dependent on the merchants. So our like customers who are, or merchants who are in Germany also have warehouse in France to enable a cheaper and faster delivery for their French customers. Or vice versa. And it's, of course, with UK, I think it's the most crucial thing in order to avoid customs and so on, to have a inventory in the UK.
Okay, that was an important step, I believe, yes, the UK, especially after Brexit.
Yeah, and we are seeing the impact of Brexit. It's a bit off topic, but like it's still Western Europe. We have seen lots of UK merchants as well trying to move their inventory to Europe because it is difficult for them as well. Most of their customers, like UK e-commerce market is a huge market, but most of their customers are also sitting in Europe. So I would say 40-50% like of their consumers live in Europe too, so they want to have their inventory. They want to have the free and sort of fast shipping option for their consumers in Europe. So they are also looking for opportunities outside.
Yeah, so now we've been talking about transparency, costs, and before we also mentioned the delivery time, right? So that's what is that problem, of course. Yeah.
There you go. So delivery speed. So I think cost and delivery speed go together, to be honest. So the delivery speed, again, I'm giving sort of examples from Amazon, but again, Amazon Prime Day has set the standard high, and sort of even if it's not same day, 2 or 1 day delivery has become the norm, and it's going to continue within 2021. And I think sort of, again, having strategic locations will help merchants tackle both cost and the speed. I think I'm not going to say too much about it, but the delivery speed more than 3 days is also getting a bit on the nerves for the consumers. Just something to be aware of for the merchants. Not for Croatia, apparently. The next point is, I think that's a point sort of I like to talk about consumer preferences. So I think this is also important, and sort of a good feeling, especially nowadays when we are all sitting at home, and even like a delivery with a small note can make our day excited. So I think it's a topic I personally quite like as well, to having these small touches and basically making sure we listen to consumer preferences.
I know what you're talking about, because I've seen the joy on my coworker's face today when she got a pair of new pants. So
exactly, that makes the day.
Your joy.
I think, yeah, these are the small excitements we have in the COVID life. So to listen to those preferences, to make sure that the delivery is basically made sure that sort of we enable those preferences for the brands is useful. Just an interesting data on conversational shopping. So most of the, I think it's a 2020, we can say it's a 2021 trend. So conversational shopping is being more and more on demand, and we want to interact as we cannot interact in person anymore. We want to interact with the brands online. And we again have partners like Heyday, who is a AI chatbot, and like through messaging, through knowing where or how we can communicate with the consumer is an important aspect. Also, I will get to that point as well. I think it's, I have another point on sort of having a personally branded or looking into more environmental friendly options. These are the things that that are increasing trends at the moment. So knowing those, knowing your consumers, and basically adding small touches to the fulfillment part as well is important in that sense.
Wow. I didn't expect that one. Yeah.
Yeah, this one, and it links to the personalized unboxing experience. Like mentioned, once you listen to the consumer preferences, you can then make the experience even more than what they expect, basically. And this can include sustainable packaging. This can include some small messages, personalized branding. You don't want to get the same boring box every time, but maybe having more sort of creative experiences, and that touches the consumer. Like personally, when I have a delivery other than the standard one, I get excited. Like I said, we don't have much to get excited from in COVID life. So I think it's important for positioning your brand and positioning your consumer preferences, how you want to make sure that your consumers comes back, and basically have them be part of the selection process, be part of your brand love.
So the first 3 points were like convincing the user to buy, and then the last 2 points, the 4th and 5th, were about the customer retention, how to keep them coming to our shop and buying some more. So
yeah,
we have more users coming back. Okay.
Thank you for presenting it. No, I like you said, I agree. I think exactly, it is about getting them, and then basically into your brand, making sure that you give a good experience, and then the last two, we can say that it is about showcasing that experience and making sure they have it physically as well, that they know that your brand listens to them and moves with the preferences of the consumer. I think, yeah, that's it for that in terms of. And I think last point, yes, this is the last point, basically what to consider when switching to cross-border fulfillment. So we talked about basically general trends, how it might be useful for your brand when you want to expand and do cross-border fulfillment, to decentralize, to go D2C, and to enable cross-border with that. What you need to do, like the macro picture, is that you want to serve as to European consumers. And this can only be enabled with free and fast delivery through micro hubs in sort of different warehouses. And that's why we basically, like in terms of scaling up, we partner with warehouses to make sure we scaled up to different countries as well, to make sure that we have different points, locations for our merchants to expand to. I can give sort of like an example to that, and then continue on this point. Basically, your Superfoods has been a customer with us for from the start. So they are a superfood company. They basically started off in Berlin and grew together with us from like one country to sort of like starting off in Berlin. Now they're doing delivery to 70 different countries. Of course, they have different locations, and their cross-border growth grew from 12% to 40% in the last 2 years. So there is a huge opportunity in that sense to tackle cross-border. And of course, this cross-border reflected on their year-on-year growth as well, which is 300% last year. So this has been a good success story for both us and your superfood to showcase on cross-border fulfillment. But what do you need to do to start with? So you basically, we have partners basically to help the merchants on their VAT registrations and EORI numbers. These are the 2 points on a sort of simple level to start doing inventory or having inventory outside. So you need to be VAT registered and have an EORI number, but nothing to worry. We have partners who help doing that for that can be included in our service, or merchants can directly work with those partners to make sure that they have VAT registrations to sell in the markets directly.
Germany, Netherlands, and UK and France.
Yeah, like Germany, UK, Netherlands, and France, exactly. So so EORI numbers you need as well in order to stock the inventory in these countries. But for example, if you say that you wanna expand in, let's say, in Europe and also in UK, you need an EORI number for Europe and another one for UK due to Brexit. But then you're good to go basically. And the same for the VAT registration. But like I said, our partner network has been growing in the last year. So we want to make sure that the process of this cross-border fulfillment is as easy as possible for our merchants as well. Yeah, and we gave so much. We talked a bit about Amazon as well. So it's about being customer focused, like mentioned in the presentation as well, and listen to the customer preferences, making sure if they want fast and free delivery, making sure that happens, giving a personalized experience as well for the merchants, and basically just making sure that the delivery point is memorable. So because that will make your brand grow, that will make your brand be remembered by, if you tackle the last touch point as well. And that includes fast and free shipping. I can summarize it here: short delivery times, free shipping, branding, and hassle-free returns. So these are the 4 points I can just summarize in order to make sure that you tackle the fulfillment part as well.
Keeping your promises, probably. If you say it's going to be in 2 days, then it needs to be in 2 days.
Yeah, keeping the promise, keeping the sort of your brand liable on the times, basically. And the takeaways, sort of like I wanted to summarize key takeaways for the merchants, basically to make sure once going cross-border, once expanding to other markets, to make sure that it is a standard to have fast, free, and sustainable shipping with branded packaging. Mm-hmm. So the branded packaging includes sort of using environmental friendly packages as well, and we have options for that. Sustainability is a rising topic. I think it is important for all of us, not just like seeing it, I'm seeing it outside of merchant consumer perspective. It is important for all of us as human to be mindful about our habits on sustainability. And we are working again to make sure our supply chain is CO2 neutral as well. So we are we took our first step and make our offices and employee carbon emissions neutral with Planetly. So Planetly has helped us calculate our CO2 emissions and gave us the opportunity to offset our CO2 emissions as a company. And we're working with partners, or we are basically working on getting the whole supply chain in that level. Some of the shipment companies do offer CO2 neutral options like DHL Go Green or GLS do it automatically. And I think it is important to for merchants, and also to mention to the consumers that side of the coin as well. Outsourced fulfillment and automates your inventory and returns. Basically, once you're growing to different countries, it is important to automate processes. Otherwise, again, even if like DHL delivers in one day, if you don't process it in the warehouse in an automated manner from the order to the process, then the order will be stuck in the warehouse for 3 days, and then it gets processed. So you will lose time. So in order to tackle the time aspects, there needs to be processes automated. And outsourced fulfillment helps basically for that. So
it does it for you.
Yeah, exactly. And it is, like you said in the beginning, that's where professional that area comes into place. So we want merchants to focus on their sort of area of expertise, while e-commerce fulfillment companies focus on how to automate the process better, how to make the outsourced fulfillment better. So that's our area of expertise, and like basically it is to help merchants tackle that, and that's the reason why having it once you grow to other countries, having a professional or like outsourced fulfillment options is important to consider. And last but not least, decentralize your inventory to successfully navigate customs and compliance. So it is not just for fast and free shipping, it's also for customs and compliance. And that's basically going to help with your costs and the experience your sort of consumers have when they don't have to pay for customs if they order something to UK. Basically, now what's going to happen. And there are so many cases already that people are complaining on how and in what like sort of logic the custom payments are made. So in order to avoid that hassle and having angry customers writing emails to you, it is good to be proactive and choose sort of like or look through the options on how you can benefit basically from the situation, and just see the opportunity there on how to decentralize the inventory to navigate it.
To go local on the market through
exactly.
Yeah, so
to decentralize it and to make sure that you cover the needs in the local consumer side as well. And I think, yeah, these are basically the points that I wanted to mention. And I'm happy to get if you have more questions, or if anything else would be interesting for the merchants in the Adriatic region.
Sinem, this was a very educational talk that you gave us, and any merchants out there in Adriatic region who are willing and wanting to expand to Western Europe, here is a professional speaking to me. So just reach out to Sinem, and I believe she will answer all the questions you need to have answered, and she will help you to expand in a hassle-free manner, as she mentioned so many times before. So Sinem, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you, David. It was let me stop sharing, and it was great to be on the call today, and I'm hoping that the merchants will benefit from it. And yeah, feel free to reach out and let us know if you have any questions. And looking forward to hear from you.
Thank you, Sinem.